What's up, everybody? Just want to tell you how you can come support the show. If you get any value out of it, you can return the value by going to Truthzilla.org. You can see all of our links up there. We've got Bitcoin donation. We've got PayPal donation. You've got Patreon. You've got rockfin.com/Truthzilla. You can create a free account to watch all our videos there, or a membership account, and you can watch all the premium content from us and everybody else on the website. And also, if you guys don't have a Truthzilla t-shirt, I don't know what you're doing. Truthzilla.org/shirts. They're really awesome. We've been actually selling quite a few, and we really appreciate it. So, you guys, thank you so much, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Truthzilla. I am Megan, sitting here with my good friends Scott and Ed. Our guest today is a cultural icon with an exciting life story. He is a musician, comedian, actor, writer, director, and a cannabis rights activist. You know him from the classic Cheech and Chong films and That 70s Show. Tommy Chong, welcome to the show.
Wow. Thank you. And you forgot to say that I'm Canadian.
Canadian. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So
very important. Very important. Especially at the border.
Exactly. Man, so yeah, what an honor. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Like, it's really cool. It's really cool. So where do we even begin? Like, there's so much stuff that, you know, like that intersects with a lot of the stuff we talk about on the show. Like, a few things that we kind of really stand for is just, like, you know, medical freedom and the right for us to be able to, you know, make medical decisions for ourselves. And, you know, and I know that your story, I mean, like the ultimate in, hey, government, I get to, you know, you don't get to tell me what I get to do when it comes to what I put in my body. So, you know, where are we at with that, or give us some insight into how you think the government, where we draw the line when it comes to what we put in our body.
You got to remember, our society, you know, our civilization, since the beginning has always been formed on racism. You know, tribalism or racism, and making laws against people's cultural habits is one way of creating a way to interfere in other people's lives under the guise of law, under the umbrella of a law, and that's what we faced. We've been. I figure pot has been illegal all my life.
Yeah.
It went illegal in 1938. I was born in 1938, and since then, you know, we've proven, you know, I think beyond a reasonable doubt that pot is not only harmless, but it's helpful. Yeah. It cures and helps so many people with so many ailments, regardless of what your nationality is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so we're coming out of the dark ages, you know, and we're emerging. And like the Black Lives Matter, that's a good example of it. You know, coming out of it, all the native tribes, you know, that are being recognized now with their sovereign land ownership, and you know, we're slowly emerging out of that dark shadow of racism, and eventually, you know, and hopefully in my lifetime that we will be able to go, oh yeah, I remember, you know, that's the way it used to be, but it's not that way anymore. And by the way, it's these a lot of people were very worried about AI, you know, artificial intelligence, but they're the same people that created those racist laws. You know, they're afraid of anything and everything. You know, especially if it threatens their existence. You know, because that's basically what the racist laws did. You know, they created a very underpaid working class. You know, where you didn't even have, all you had to do was, you know, give them room and board, and you could get all the work you wanted out of them. And we're not only emerging from that, but we're learning from it. And I think there's a lot of the art has really shown the way, because art was how we kept track of everything. Before writing, there's always sign languages and signposts and that drawings that told the story of the human of this particular human race. And I think we're benefiting. You got to remember, all this what's been going down has always been recorded and written down, and in the form of religious texts for the most part, because that's always been man's quest. Why am I here? Who am I? And what am I doing here? And why do I exist?
Right.
That's the big question. Well, the Bible has given us answers from the get-go, right from the beginning. And it's our interpretations, civilization's interpretations of the holy books that has caused quite a bit of grief, as we learn. For instance, the Christianity was never a religion. It started out as a prophet that knew the secret, the secret of our existence, and the prophet was murdered for his beliefs and his. Just think about Jesus. All he preached was peace and love and kindness, and they couldn't wait to kill him.
And isn't that's just emblematic of every, thing in our society, when somebody rises to a point where they can be potentially a person who can speak a true message of peace and love and unity, that person is vilified and struck down, especially, just talk about like the 60s, 70s, the era when you came to be, that's just rampant, and it's interesting though, like nowadays, it seems like they've kind of switched tactics, whereas, they used to assassinate, and now what? I don't know. It's interesting.
Cancel, yeah. Well, now you don't have the control that the people had back in the day. See, when Jesus, he never had an organized religion. He never organized anything. The most he did was he had apostles, and this is, by the way, the writers of the Gospels. They're the ones that invented Jesus' mindset. Because the Bible says, oh, Jesus went around and collected all these apostles. I don't think so. I think they kind of followed him. When they heard him talk, they said, oh, and create the miracles. I think they said, oh, I'm going to follow this guy for a minute. And I think that's what happened. But what he did, see, Jesus wasn't the first. There were so many prophets before him and prophets after him, because here's the key. Here's what's happening. What Jesus taught us, and by the way, Jesus was a Jew. He was never a Christian. Right. He was born and died a Jew. Right. And so this is Jewish teachings that the Christians adhere to. What happened? The Romans, when they found out, that their god Baal wasn't really producing like Jesus could do. And more than anything, the following. Then they co-opted then they invented Christianity, and then they invented the Pope and the cardinals and all the hierarchy that goes with how they used to do it back in the day when they had priest and high priest and lower, all that crap. So what we're coming out of now, we're coming out of this era. First of all, it got all put down, the modern day God is dead kind of thing. We don't need, that's what communism emerged out of this. We don't need this religious crap, we just got to just pay homage to the rich and powerful, but the truth is, and what Jesus taught and what I learned is that in the Bible, it says there was no beginning and no end. Right in the beginning, Alpha, Omega, there was no beginning and no end. Eternity, that's the definition of eternity. So if we've been here, as a species, if we are eternal beings, which we are, we've always been here. And all we're doing now is playing the role. We're sort of like coming back and playing the human drama, so to speak. And we come back. Every time we come back, we leave and we come back to learn, and which explains everything. See, what I learned in my studies, in my thinking, and my pot smoking, is the how eternity factors into everything, because eternity means there's no end. There was no beginning. This has always been. But in the physical world, which we live in for a minute, for a brief period of time, because what is the lifespan of 50, 60 years, maybe 70, 80, or the guys are 106, but you can't count too many of those guys, because by the time you reach that age, you're just there. You're not doing a whole lot. But you see what I mean? We're all here for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And it's like a play. We're all cast in different characters to learn. Yeah, and so that's what we're doing. And this is how you accept what is out there, and in terms of like me going to jail, for instance, that was ordained. That was meant to be. I enjoyed every minute of it. I had one bad half hour, and that was the night I got into the bunk, and I'm in a dormitory with 200 men, and it sounds like a jungle, man jungle, where they're making all the man noises, the farts and the screams and the crying and the moaning and the, and I went from a beautiful house in the Palisades in California, double big queen size bed, with a gorgeous wife, and now I'm in a little bunk, with a blanket and a sheet, and I had one bad half hour, and that was it. That was when I heard the key. I could hear the door being locked, and I got a little claustrophobic. And then I went to my spiritual training, and like meditation, and then that disappeared, and so what I realized is that I was there for a reason. See, everything happens for a reason, and I think it was that 2 days later I threw the I Ching, the I Ching, and the first thing the I Ching said was that you are in prison for a reason. And then went on to say that jails are corrective institutions where you correct your behavior, and I just blossomed in that environment, because I turned it into like a religious retreat. There I got my bunk, I got no family, I got no distractions. I just got me and myself, and that was an incredible experience. And so then I started studying, I started learning. And what I learned was that we live in the physical world to learn. Good, bad, and everything. When we go to the spiritual world, Which, by the way, I don't think we're there a long time if you got a lot to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you've been a real asshole on earth, I don't think you spend a lot of time in heaven. I think you just get on the next stork or whatever, and you're born. And you're born again, and this time it might be the same as last time, but this time you're there, and might be a little tougher. You might end up being a refugee in Somalia or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
That's all possible, because in the spirit world there's nothing but love in the spirit world. But in the physical world, that's where all the action takes place. That's where all the learning takes place. Right. And that's where we are now, you see. And that's what we're going through now. You look at our trials and tribulations. But there are many. And what I've learned too is that when you don't have big problems, your little problems become big problems. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, we call them Cadillac problems, right?
Yeah. So if you're not, say, crippled, like or all messed up, learning, in that way, learning what going around in a wheelchair or something, that's your big problem. Or if you're born rich with everything, that's your big problem. Mm-hmm. Everything that you face. And then what we have to do is learn ourselves. You can't be taught. You can find a teacher, and there's a saying that when the pupil's ready, the teacher appears. So this is what I gathered, when I was incarcerated, and then I kept on with it, and I've learned the power of God. Now this is very interesting, and I'm glad we're talking, because I don't get a chance to reveal this. But it's funny. First of all, God has a great sense of humor. Mm-hmm. A great sense of humor. That's the only way we can explain Trump. Because God he loves a laugh. He loves to laugh. And he loves me, Tommy Chong. He loves me to death. And when people say, how do you know that? I said, have you seen my wife?
There you go.
She is gorgeous. And she's been with me most of her life and most of my life. We've been together. And she gets more gorgeous every day. And it's not like we're tired of each other, used to each other, because we still act. There's still this barrier of a beautiful woman with an old horny guy. There's still that thing there, but there's also a sense of living each moment to the fullest, instead of worrying about the past, worrying about the future, worrying about what you don't have or what you should have. We've managed to just enjoy every moment, and then we both create. She makes dresses and she makes all sorts of stuff. She dances every day and she keeps herself beautiful. I make my marijuana pipes.
That's great. That's awesome.
People say, what do you do in your spare time when you're not smoking? I'm making pipes.
Yep.
to smoke with. And that's my art.
Yeah.
But I've also done all the rest. I did the movies, I did everything else. And it's because I know that God is not only exists. A lot of people say, does God really exist? That cracks me up as they're talking, because you're looking at a product of God. Saying, did God really make me? Right. And when I say God and I get along, little problems, I lose my phone all the time.
There you go.
All the time.
Yeah.
And so you know how I find it? After I look for a while,
you turn it over to
God. God.
Yeah.
I say, God, where's my phone? And within seconds, maybe minutes, but seconds. Oh, it's usually in my hand, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
That's like me wearing my glasses and yelling for my kids to help me find my glasses. So and I'm wearing them.
Yeah, you're wearing it.
Yeah, that's happened more than once. I'm embarrassed to say, but
you know, I
but then you put that into other problems of your life. Well, obviously, you guys are aware of it in some form or another, because you're successful, you're awake, you got ambition, you got drive, you got focus. You know, all of that comes from being blessed.
Yeah.
I call it blessed, because there's a lot of people they're as opposed to being blessed, they're cursed.
Yeah, it's
and we don't know why, and we will never know why, because we don't know anybody's past history of why they ended up the way they did. You know, for instance, Cheech and I, we just finished doing a documentary.
Nice.
And Cheech and I we had a great career. I mean, we were on top of the world. We had a #1 record. I mean, movies, records, Grammys, everything. And then it stopped. It like we stopped. He stopped listening. He stopped believing in me, really. You know, because I am really a weird guy to hang with, because you don't know from one day to the next what we're going to be doing. You know, there's no really set plan, you know, and that's why I've done so many things, you know, because I'm being led, by the way. I'm being shoved and pushed and because of my relationship with God, because very early in my life, I turned my life more or less over to God. And I said, okay, you know, because I was 8 years old, and I went to Bible camp, and I really enjoyed the stories. I loved the stories. I felt so much at home. And then in Bible camp, they taught me how to pray. Now that's a very important skill to have. In all the religions teach prayer is so important. Well, when you look at the outside world, you know, the people, that's one part where they neglect to the point of almost being proud of it. We never say grace. I don't believe in that shit. You know, all that. Well, it's like saying, I don't believe in electricity. You know,
sure.
Here, let me touch that wire. You know, that is so powerful to even just know about it. Well, with me, it went beyond knowing. It's like when I started at that early age, if you pray for the right things, really, your prayer will be answered before you know it, because all you're really doing is falling in line with the plan that was set or is set for you.
Absolutely.
You know. And that's all you're doing. Now, when you wander off that plan, that means you got to go learn. You got to go off and learn, because you know you never learn by winning.
Right.
Winners. Well, how do you feel? Well, I feel great. I won. You know.
Yeah.
But when you talk to losers, how do you feel? Well, I should have done this. I should have. Next time I'll do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So winners, and that's why there's not very few winners. But there's a shitload of losers, and because that's the ones that need to learn. You see, and even winners. When you look at Tiger Woods, he couldn't lose, and all of a sudden now he can't win. Why? Because he didn't learn. He did not learn, and so in the beginning he had all his wins, and because he was on the right path. He was listening to his spiritual overself, and then the minute he got with the bad boys, Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley. He discovered his dick, and when that happens, game over.
Game over.
Yeah. Game over,
man.
And so that's basically. And the way you get along with everybody is that you just look at them and realize you're just learning. Way to go! Come on, you can do it. You can, you're not at the finish line. You're getting close, or you might even be getting close to being in the race or whatever. But that's why with what we're doing now.
Yeah.
That's why. If you stay creative, if you're into music or any kind of arts or in any kind of athletics where you don't hurt other people, you are really doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is really listening and obeying those instincts that you get. And when you get those instincts and they're not polluted. See, when I say polluted, a lot of times wealth will ruin everything, because, and that was why I was so lucky, because I never, even when we did Up in Smoke, we did Up in Smoke. Up in Smoke grossed so much money, and you know what? Cheech and I never saw hardly a penny of it.
Wow.
I watched that last night with my brother. I got really, really stoned, and then I added an edible to the top of that, and then I turned that on I just made like a pillow fort on my front room floor, just a little bit of drool, but not a lot. And I turned that on, and it was the year I was born, so I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to watch it the night before. I was dying laughing. My face, I looked at the timer, it was like 24 minutes and 13 seconds in. I had to pause it and go take 5 minutes to smoke a little more because my face hurt so bad from laughing. It was so hilarious, and my kids were yelling from downstairs, "Mom, why are you laughing so hard? Be quiet and go to sleep."
It's timeless.
Yeah, totally. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was my path.
Yeah.
That's what ordained. You see, no one said, let's write a movie and call it Up in Smoke. No one said that. No, what happened was that I got tired of touring, going to Australia all the time. Because here's the thing about creativity. You create something and it's one of a kind. And you're very proud of it and you love it. And that's good. Then someone comes along and says, oh, I want to buy that. So then now you have to create another one. And pretty soon you're really tired of creating the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we're doing our live show. We're successful. We're Australia. Everything's great, But it got boring because we kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. And every time we do a new show, I would have to write a new show. And so next thing you know, it's Australia time again. I thought, fuck this. I don't want to do this. We should do a movie. You see, that's where I got that little voice. That little God telling me, it's time to do a movie. Okay. And the way it was all luck. It was all luck because I started writing a movie. Another movie was a screenwriter that I just met. And then when Cheech and Lou heard about it, Lou Adler, our producer, Lou said, okay, well, we'll do a movie. I'll get the deal. And so Lou Adler got out and got the deal with Paramount, and then we got a deal. And so then, see, that's how Cheech and I work. What happened? There we go. We never write together. We come up with ideas, and then next thing you know, we got a job. and in this case, our job was to do a movie. And so. Now, I just did a documentary about the making of Up in Smoke. So nice. I'm really aware, and I've always been aware of what happened. Up in Smoke was a fluke from the start to the finish. What happened? Lou Adler wanted to call it Cheech and Chong's greatest hits. Cheech just went along with whatever I said. I wrote a song called "Up in Smoke," and right after we started writing the movie, and then Cheech says, "That's the title. That's the title." And so I wrote the title song, and then we started writing the movie. And when I say we, it was mostly me writing down bits and ideas and everything else. I wrote what was an outline, a 45-page outline, and that became Up in Smoke. Lou Adler kept putting in, trying to get us to do our record bits, which we did. Which the driving bit that you saw, that was a 5-minute bit on stage that ended up as a movie. But because we're on stage, we're pretending that we're out there doing. Anyway, the movie was so ordained. It was so, God was right there. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. God's got such a great sense of humor, sense of timing, and everything. Yeah. And at the end of the movie, and this I've been going through this with my daughter and her guy, because they're doing documentaries. Lou was the director by name only. I was really the director, and at the end of the movie, he felt like he knew he had everything, and so because he was the director, he was close to the editors and that, and so the editors and Lou come up with an ending, and they were going to surprise me with the ending. Well, they did surprise me, only it wasn't the kind of surprise they were hoping for. It was like, oh, this is shit. We got to write a new movie. We got to write a new ending. And so I did. And we shot it. And anyway, long story short, we got a hit movie. Mm-hmm. Unbelievably big hit movie. Yeah. But again, like I said, God's got that sense of humor. God says, okay, you just made a movie, but now, in order to keep your ass working, because if you get all that money now, you're going to quit. You're going to ruin your life. You're going to chase whatever stupid things, house, a boat, or a car, or a woman, or whatever, But no, you're going to go back on the road, mm-hmm. and you're going to start again from nothing. And then you're going to make more movies, which we did. And here we are. But the thing is, you have to listen to that small, still voice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what they call it. And I've been listening, and here I am.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, one of the things that you'd mentioned that really stood out to me is that, it's that motivation. It's that motivation to succeed. I can relate in the sense that, I made some bad choices in my life. I was actually addicted to substances for a while. I made some bad choices, and I ended up in prison. I did about 14 months, for doing stuff to support my habit, So I saw the inside of these institutions myself. But in that was a corrective thing for me as well. I had that awakening experience, and I realized that this is not the type of life I want to lead anymore. And when I got out, I had all this motivation. And, for me, it was a very spiritual thing too. Honestly, when I was on the inside, of course, here in Oregon prisons are not like, it's like literally it was like suntanning on the yard during the summer. And like I got to check out a guitar. So I got really into guitar playing and stuff. You know what I mean? And so it was like, and we had like veggie trays. And then they brought in like this therapy pony, like a miniature pony with like
therapy pony.
Yep. They brought a therapy pony in with like little boots and like a little dress on for like the inmates to pet. Right. And so like, I had my bunkie, my next
therapy pony.
Yeah, exactly. My bunkie next to me, he was from California. He'd done 18 years on a bank robbery, and I was like, "Hey, do they have veggie trays and therapy ponies down in California prison?" He's like, "Fuck no, man. This is bullshit." So, but anyway, so that was my experience, So but at the same time, one of my biggest things was like, I refuse to get comfortable here. I do not want to get comfortable here. I refuse to make this acceptable. This is unacceptable to me personally, and so. But I did grow from it, and I got out, and I've been clean ever since. I actually work as a drug and alcohol counselor now. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And but with all that to say, like that provided me with just a framework of what I don't want, and also has provided me with a lot of this motivation to do all these other things. You know, I'm in a band myself, you know what I mean? And I do this show and I do all these things. And it's like, I don't think I would have that if I hadn't had that awakening experience, you know? And I was curious.
Exactly.
And I know that you have so much that you've done and so much that you've accomplished in your life, but is that a result of anything maybe earlier in your life, of any struggles or dark stuff that propelled you and turned that spark on for you?
Oh, well, yeah, in a way, the spark is inside us.
Yeah,
it's always been there. No, I was very lucky because I never really had a mom or parents until I was about, I guess, 5. I'm having a hard time, 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I think was about that age. Because what happened, my mother got TB. I think I was about 6 months old or something like that. I was quite young. She got diagnosed with TB, so she was quarantined for 5 years, even longer. So I never had a mom. My dad was in the Second World War, and so he had some war injuries. And so when he got out of the war, when the war ended, and then he ended up coming home, he couldn't afford. He had some issues, so he couldn't provide us with a house or living. He was buying. He had problems, so we ended up in an orphanage, like the Salvation Army home in Calgary, and that's one of my earliest memories was being in the hospital. And I had nurses all over me because I was such a cute little brown guy. So I really got a titty fixation from that because I had these gorgeous nurses always hugging me and the kid, So I had it pretty nice in the hospital. And then I went to the home, and I had it nice because I was small and I was, my brother had it rough. My brother ended up being very tough because he had to fight his way to and from the public school because the home kids had to go to the public school, and of course everybody, hey, you're from the home, hey, and that sexist, racist kind of shit, and so my brother was a very tough guy. He's 3 years older than me, and so I was kind of always protected. And I was always a bystander. I was always standing off the side, watching, looking, and then learning. I was never much of a participant, And then when my dad and my mother got out of the hospital, my dad got a job and by the way, he got a job because of my prayer. I know, because I remember riding in the car. We were so poor, you could see the ground in the car that we had. The floorboards were that bad. You could see the ground underneath. That was kind of fascinating when you're a kid. But then my dad, I prayed that he would get a job that would pay $100 a week. To me, that was a lot of money. And you know what? I think it was the next day my dad came home and said that he's got a job. Wow. It was like, whoa. And then he never stopped working. He was a truck driver, long distance truck driver, and he worked us out of the shitty home, literally, into a nice wartime house and so on. So but I like music, for instance. I got into music simply because I was the only one in the neighborhood that could play enough guitar to help back up a fiddle player who played for parties that we had at our house. And so next thing you know, I'm 8 years old playing backup guitar for a fiddle player, and we're playing for dancing.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's that set. It's like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and then a break, and then another couple hours.
Yeah.
They're all drinking. I'm not. I'm too young, but I'm learning how to play backup guitar, and so that was my early training. How to keep the beat, and how to play what the people want. That's what I learned there. And then when I went to Army, and see, my poverty really propelled me into these different areas because I had no choice. Unlike when I say poor rich kids, I mean it too, because they get to choose basically, or their parents choose whatever experience they want them to go through. Well, with me, I had no choice. If you wanted to make money and have a holiday and learn how to march, you join Army cadets because you got paid for going to Army cadets. And so I was in Army cadets from the age of 13, 14 till I was 16, I guess, when I got out. But I learned how to march. I learned how to do all sorts of crazy things, with the cadets. And then in cadets, I met the native Elvis impersonator. He didn't look anything like Elvis, but he could wiggle his hips and sing Elvis song. He could do all that.
So good.
And the girls loved him, and that changed my life too, because I said, "Wow, now I know what I want to do with my life." Yeah. No, everything that happened to me was because I had nothing. It was, and that is such a great motivator. It's such a great motivator because you got no choice. You got nothing to fall back.
Yeah.
Now I got a couple of kids. I got one son. He lives in Tofino, and right now I'm. There was a joke I told him one time that I'm rich enough that he could become a jazz musician.
I mean, yeah.
Well, guess what?
What's that? He's a jazz musician.
He took me up on it.
Nice. That's great.
But he teaches cool. As well.
Yeah.
And I can see that's going to be his thing to do, because he's a good teacher and he's got a lot of patience and he loves kids, and he's got his own son. And he's married to a very beautiful, talented engineer. Wow. She does windmills, the powerful windmills. Yeah. And so he's set, But what propelled me was poverty, and you got a choice when you're poor. You can wallow in it, or you can get the hell out of it. It's all up to you. And in my family, by the way, my brother, I had him playing bass, but he couldn't play bass. But I showed him, he had enough rhythm and everything that I could show him. But when the band left town, he stayed behind because he really wasn't a musician. And he had a wife and a couple of kids. And so he stayed. And same as my sister. My sister, she lives in Surrey now. She's the only one that's alive of the family. And she's sweet as can be. We just found out that we're all, the Chong kids were all 25% native.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And my sister she really looks native, and her kids really look native. And they grew up in an area of Vancouver where all the native people knew that they were native before they did.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I got another question for you. So I kind of alluded to the fact that, I chose a life of complete abstinence. I smoked a lot of weed in my days, but these days I just don't. I just choose to just find my spiritual, path to be, clear-headed and on that path, right? But I did joke with a lot of my friends in recovery. I'm like, God, if I smoke a joint with Tommy Chong on the show, is that considered a relapse? Like, is it really? I mean, is it really? So anyway, I mean, I don't know. But anyway, so here's the thing, though. I was curious. I know that you've brushed elbows with everybody, a lot of people. Like, is there anybody on your list of people that you really want to smoke a joint with, but you haven't yet?
Paul McCartney.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul knows it. I've smoked out or smoked in front of all the Beatles.
Yeah.
John, George, and Ringo, but not Paul. And yet Paul was the only real bona fide pothead amongst them, all of them. And Paul knows about it. We got mutual friends, and Paul said, "Yeah, I'd be honored to smoke with Tommy Chong." Yeah. So no, I once smoked with Jimi Hendrix, but he was in the bathroom doing heroin, and I was out in the living room smoking my joint alone. and
Damn it,
and
Jimmy,
that was the
come on,
closest
Jimmy.
I get. Yeah, that's the closest I come to Jimmy. And who else I smoke? Yeah, I've smoked with Wally from Leave It to Beaver.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I smoked with Wally and George Harrison at the same
Cool.
time. That
Wow.
was quite a trip.
That's
That
awesome.
was quite a trip. Yeah, I've smoked with quite a few people. Peter Sellers was the most fun.
Nice, man.
You know the comedian. He's
Yep.
so fun.
Pink Panther.
When we flew to England to do a tour there that he arranged, the plane landed, and then the stewardess came to Cheech and I, and they said, "Okay, you guys, when you get off the plane, there'll be a stewardess will take you to a private meeting place. You're not going through the regular border. It's like a VIP place." And so we got off the plane and we get taken over to this area, and there was a limousine parked in that area. And as we approached the limousine, the window rolled down, and then this giant piece of hash, a guy holding a giant piece of hash with the end burning.
Oh, God.
Came out of the window. It came out of the window and like, and of course it was Peter on the other end of the hash.
Wow.
Wow.
He had to think of some really crazy way to greet Cheech and Chong. And that was,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, we had the most fun with Peter, man. He was so crazy and so funny, just nuts. He was just crazy. He was a drummer,
Okay.
by the way.
Okay.
He was like a show drummer.
Mhm.
When he was 15 years old, he was on the road, and he was considered the greatest jazz drummer in the world.
Wow.
And I never heard him play drums, but I can imagine, because he's got all that great timing. Yeah, we've partied with the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that reminds me also too then, okay, so Tommy, you're in this perfect position now to really get us out of all these messes that we're in, really. Like, here's my opinion and here's my strategy, I think. Like, if we could just get close enough to some of these controllers, some of these, like, these Bond villain leaders in the world, right? The heads of the financial institutions, or like the Klaus Schwabs of the world, right? Get close enough and just put a little like a vial of acid in their coffee or something like that, and then they'll just be like, and then, these folks, these evil and then they're just gonna be like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then
I think that this plan has merit.
and it'll just all go back to normal. Yeah. And then everything is gonna be flowers blossoming everywhere, and they'll be like, why am I trying to take over the world? This is all just absurd. And they're gonna pour all their money and energy into making this world the beautiful place that we all deserve, right?
Oh man, that's so sweet. That's a nice dream.
Yeah, it's a nice dream. But
you know why these guys are the way they are? It's because they're gamblers.
Mm.
Now, I don't know if you've ever known gamblers. My dad was a gambler.
Mm.
And that's part of the reason why we never got anything when he was alive. Mm. Because gamblers need their money. It's a tool. It's just like taking a saw away from a carpenter. Money is a tool. Mm. And you can never have enough money. Because gamblers, this is the way it works. They might gamble for $5 and double down, make it 10. They might be, there's a gambling where they're like into oil, oil stock and that. We're talking millions, if not billions of dollars that they gamble with. They gamble with that. Yeah. Just like this gasoline shortage that we're going through now, it could have been hacked, but I'm kind of thinking, wow, just what happened when they cut off the gasoline supply, the prices went skyrocketing, and everybody started hoarding gasoline. Yeah. In other words, it was like a fire sale on gasoline. You know? So, did the hackers really do that, or did they come up with this plot? See,
Certainly.
Artificial
financial
scarcity.
institutions, they're all gambling.
Yeah.
They're all gamblers.
Yeah.
We can't rely on them. You know who we rely on? The creative people. See, it's art that saved, like back in the day, Egypt, you know, it was those pyramids. And think about that. The pyramids were built by artists. You know, it might have been designed by the pharaohs, you know, but come on, what, an 18-year-old guy is going to design a pyramid, you know? So it was the art department in Egypt that went to work, because think about art. Art creates work, slave work, you know, labor. You know, and craftsmen, you got to know how to cut that rock, you know, you got to, and then you got to shape it and make it look beautiful, and all the tombs and everything else. By the way, when I in fact, within the next few years, maybe this year, I'm going to start designing my tomb.
There you go.
Because I'm going to be like King Tut. I want to have my own tomb and my favorite things with me in the tomb, and then it'll be a tourist destination.
Absolutely.
You
That's
know?
awesome. Wow.
We gotta. You guys heard it first. We gotta go see Tommy Chong's tomb.
Tommy Chong's
tomb. Great, man.
Yeah.
We gotta go get stoned on Tommy Chong's
Oh,
Yes.
dude, you know it's going to be an absolute tourist destination. That's powerful.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, this is how. There's two ways to make money: with tourism or with war.
Yeah.
You see, with war, it's kind of messy, because now you got survivors and people and prisoners and all that stuff to deal with, you know. But tourism is great. So that even back in the early days, you know, they had Colossus, this great statue that was built, biggest in the world, 8 wonders of the world, or whatever it was. See, they were all meant for tourism, and they even turned Christianity. You know, hey, we got a piece of the cross. It's over in this church here. You know, they got a piece of Jesus' garment. You know, all that stuff. It's all tourism, and so what I see, what's going to save America is AI, artificial intelligence, and together. In fact, I'm a product of AI because I'm using my creative urges to try to figure out how we can save our planet.
But this is intelligence. This is intelligence, not artificial intelligence. Yes. This is intelligence. Yeah.
Well, everything's artificial when you think.
Okay.
I mean, this phone
totally.
I'm using,
oh yeah.
You know, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
These are all tools.
Totally.
Like I say, tools to help us. You see. And like when people say to me, how about, you know, the farmer, they try to think, oh, the weed farmer, you know, big business is going to come over and take over. Yeah, that's bullshit. Big business is just little guys that know how to work with a lot of stuff. Big fields and that, you know. And if the fields need to be the insect, you know, take out the insects, you know, then we'll get this poison, you know, that'll fuck up our environment. You know? Whereas, see, the weed or the artist, they won't do that, you know, because they need the bees, they need the thing for their art.
Right.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And the other thing about the art that I got to point out too is two things artists need when they work. They need a project, and they need food and lodging. See, and so back in the day when they built the pyramids, Egypt was very lush. They had crops that were incredible to feed the artist, to feed and then when they went to war, they had all the artists that could, and the farmers, they all got together and they put on their war gear and they went to war. But they didn't lose that much. You know, and when they had rules of warfare. But what I'm saying is that it's the art of the human being that will make this planet of what it is. This planet, like I had a big argument with Timothy Leary. It wasn't a big argument. In fact, it was a comment by me, and it was a lot of shouting by him. He said, I told him, he said, first of all, he said, we got to get on a spaceship. We got to find another planet. We got to do it. And I said, Tim, we're on a spaceship right now.
Absolutely.
It's called Earth.
Yep.
It's going through space at a speed of 1,035 miles an hour at a speed, but we can enjoy. We don't have to put on any kind of oxygen mask or helmets or sit in a little cramped spaceship. We're on Earth, man.
We're on the ultimate spaceship.
Yeah, we can just kick back and relax. And Tim was so funny about it. But what I see happening, especially here, this is our planet. By the way, I think, and I said this on Joe Rogan, and I don't know how Joe was kind of shocked at everything I said anyway. But I said, I believe, because the universe is so vast and there are so many universes that there is no other life in this universe. There's just us. Because there's no need. You got to talk about social distancing. The universes are social distancing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Why can't we have our own universe?
Yeah.
And I think we do. You see, because we are that anointed.
Yeah. I agree.
We are.
Yes.
If God made all this, why wouldn't He give us earthlings? What they try to do is say the Earth is a little tiny little speck. Yeah. But there's little tiny specks to us too. Everything is in proportion.
Right.
So I believe that we have this is our own universe. And no matter what we do to this earth, it won't matter because time will go and erase it all.
Yeah.
And we're back to square, whatever,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally agree.
Wow, Tommy, what an amazing conversation.
So I just want to ask though, you've mentioned Cheech quite a few times. Do you have any projects or anything coming up with Cheech? Can we do it? Will we ever get another Cheech and Chong movie? Is there any future there?
Well, we're working on it. My daughter and her guy they're finishing up a Cheech and Chong documentary.
Nice.
Sure.
And it talks about the breakup and the makeup and all that stuff. In fact, I stuck my big old daddy nose in there and I wrote a bit that they're kind of in shock over. But I told them relax, and I'll use it in my own movie because they got everything all figured out. Yeah, we got the documentary coming out. And then Cheech and I are doing a series of pot shops, dispensarias, we call them.
Sure.
And they're going to be all over the place. In Canada, eventually, maybe. Actually, they're going to be in Canada because I keep forgetting that I'm going to use the negative publicity to get all this shit done. That's what we learned with Trump, by the way. The negative publicity. It works.
Negative publicity works.
And if you put it to a good cause, it's perfect. It's what we need. I think the Cheech. That was the question. Is Cheech and I going to do anything? Well, I wrote a great bit coming home from a golf tournament, and and I wanted to give it to my daughter and her guy, but it was too much for them. So I'm gonna keep it and do something with it. But Cheech and I are together more than anything. My wife and I, Shelby and I. I don't know if you see us on TikTok, but we're on TikTok and that other, not on Facebook. But I keep forgetting.
Instagram, Twitter, something.
Instagram
maybe, perhaps. But
social media. What's that?
Twitter,
YouTube.
No.
YouTube.
No.
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 Parlor? No, I'm just kidding.
BitChute,
Telegram.
What's the?
No, what do they always? You're always on your Instagram.
Instagram, yeah. Perfect.
Instagram. Why can't I think of Instagram?
I don't know. IG. It's IG. Just say my IG. But that
IG.
That segues right in, Tommy. Like, how can our listeners come find you, find what you got going on, stay up to date?
Support you
anywhere they can support you, or anything you want to plug.
Instagram. Well, yeah, I'm going to start a Save the World fund through movies.
Nice.
Briefly, here's how we can save it through movies. A movie company is way more effective and efficient than any government. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
A government, they appoint friends and people to different positions.
Yeah.
Movie companies appoint people to different positions according to their ability and talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
See? So if we were to make a movie, say, about the homeless,
mm-hmm.
for instance, we could eliminate homelessness in city by city just by making a movie about it and hiring all the homeless as movie actors or movie extras or movie carpenters or whatever. If you can't do anything, you're an extra.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's great.
If you're just a body, you can just be a body. But when you hire people on a movie, they have to join the guilds. No. And when you join a guild, you get health coverage. You get all the benefits, and you get a steady paycheck, and you got a craft that you can do. Like there's extras that are professional extras, mm-hmm. you know, and there's actors that are actors, and so on and so on. And so what we can do with the homeless, first of all, we can permit the area that they're living in, so that the movie company owns that area, not the neighbors, not the government, but the movie company. And so then we can move the people from that area where they got their tents, you know, underneath the overpasses and all that shit. We can move them out to living facilities, which the movie company provides, because that's part of their job, to house and clothe the actors. And then the kids go to school, the men go to work. If they're craftsmen, they go practice their craft or whatever it is, but they all got jobs and they all got a purpose in life. And then the movie itself will pay for whatever money that they put out for them. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And so the residents gets their city back, you know, their parks and their underpasses, and that we lose a tent city, and then we build villages out in areas, government land perhaps, that can house and clothe the large portion of the population. Because you got to remember, when they did Cleopatra, I think, or one of those movies, or 10 Commandments or something, the movie company hired an entire army to be in the movie.
Sure, yeah.
And so if you can hire an army, you can sure hire a few thousand or whatever homeless,
you
know, and take care of them and put them in school and have them become productive citizens again. You see, so I got ideas like that.
That's amazing.
And imagine if we pulled it off, and then all the other countries would look at it and say, "Oh, let's get our movie company going."
There you go.
Know what I'm saying?
I love
yes.
that.
And then you listen. Then you are really listening to the government. You're in partners with the government, because you're helping the government. You're creating employment. You're creating all sorts of good things for the people, and therefore, you know, the government's going to give you tax breaks. And then the movie theaters are going to be very happy, or the movie TV shows or whatever, you know, when you sell the product.
Yeah. Because
I see doing a movie about that, the immigrants, you know, trekking from Guatemala to America. To me, that's a movie itself. What, 1,300 miles on foot?
Yeah.
Isn't that a movie?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's a lot of movies there. Oh my God.
We got to get the movie theaters open first.
Yeah, I got to get movie theaters open first. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, no. What'll happen? You sell it to the TV. You can do it at home.
I mean, yeah.
And then, and I also, I know you got to go. I got to go.
Yeah.
But I also got a plan for the movie theaters. Check this one out.
All right.
It's an indoor drive-in movie theater.
Whoa.
Indoor.
Okay.
With permanent cars.
Oh.
You come up to the entrance and you show them your ticket, what car you reserved for the movie, and then you go to your car and you're protected. It's clean. It's all those good things. Isn't that crazy?
I like it. We need more drive-in theaters.
Yes.
I like the indoor drive-in theater. That's
stationary
awesome.
cars. You just go in and
Isn't that a great idea? Isn't that a great idea?
I love it.
idea.
And then you go to the snack bar, because that was always my favorite time to go. When I was a kid, we go to the drive-in movie theaters. We have a date, of course. And then the guy that ended up in the snack bar with the most lipstick all over his face was the hero.
Aww.
I think I'd rather have women on roller skates coming up to the windows, right?
There you go.
I want to go on a date where I put my lipstick all over somebody's cheeks. That sounds like fun. Well, I'm missing out in life. What's going on?
Oh man, we had so much fun in drive-ins. And the great thing is that if you never got along, well, you still had a movie to watch.
That's awesome. Wow.
Awesome. All right, Tommy. Well, thank you so much,
thank you
brother.
so much for
this
coming
was
on.
quite an honor. It's so much fun. Maybe we'll do it again someday if there's any updates down the
Anytime.
road. That's so great. That's so great.
You want me I'm here. I'd love to talk.
Awesome.
So
Sounds
awesome.
great.
Thank you so
much.
very
Have a
much.
wonderful day.
Love you.
Love you too,
Love
brother.
you guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, guys, dude. So did you ever think like a year ago, like maybe someday we'll be interviewing Tommy Chong, right? Talking to him about like his early days making Up in Smoke, and I mean,
that's
like
crazy.
like,
I was dying laughing
You guys
last night.
caught this. You guys didn't catch this before we started rolling. It was great because
We're going to cut that in somewhere. You're going to give me a clip of that.
But I don't think we were recording anywhere with that.
What? Wait, which part are you talking about?
The part where I'm telling you. Okay, so
sorry.
When we first started rolling, we first met Tommy. Tommy pops up on our screen, and we're like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I'm like, "Hi, I'm Scott," and he's like, "Hey, this is Ed," and Megan's like, "Hi, I'm Megan." He's like, "Megan, zoom in on her real quick." And then Megan's got the camera running here. So,
Hi, nice to meet you.
this is Megan.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
How are you?
Excellent. How are you today?
Good. Let's have a close-up on Megan. I want to see.
Okay, let's see. Megan, I don't know. I can't zoom in here. Let's do it. Right.
Oh, you can't do it.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, that's
All
the
right.
best smile I'll have today.
There you go.
Oh no.
Yay, there she is.
Yeah, well, hi, Megan. Ooh,
Yay.
Hello.
Megan's hot.
Woo.
Well, thank you. That is an incredible compliment.
Well, it's an old guy's way of making sure that he's still breathing and still
There you go.
alive.
Well, it makes me feel like I'm still breathing and alive too, so I love it.
There you go.
we were rolling actually. I'm gonna have to have.
Was that
I
recording
need.
then?
Yeah,
Okay,
I was
we're
recording it on
okay,
mine.
Good. We'll get.
And I want to cut it in so I can have Tommy Chong on my Instagram feed saying that Megan's hot, because that was like I'm smiling for days on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really
So
cool.
that was pretty epic. But anyway,
But
that's such a great conversation.
Well, his
dude.
perspectives
yeah.
on just like God and spirituality,
Yeah.
and really,
I didn't see that one coming.
and I've been talking to our good friend Cheney quite a bit, and we talk about just intuition and perceptions and just the feeling of energy, and to hear Tommy talk about just like that little inner voice and like what we perceive, and I go where I'm pushed, I go where I'm flowing, and really I think we talk about like blossoming our gifts and using all of the things that are adverse against us, and he's just talking about it very poetically, like I went to prison and I allowed that to be kind of a spiritual retreat, and I was just me, and it's really interesting to hear like how people will use things that could potentially just make you be stuck, where you're just bitter and resentful and angry, and then you get out and you're in the same exact place where you began versus how much he flourished and thrived after that. So I just think that's really, really cool, because that's just the energies and the intuition's been something that's come up a lot lately, and to have him kind of reaffirm that, it's just another human being out there that recognizes kind of the spiritual existence that we're in and listening to this inner voice. And anyways, it's pretty powerful.
It was. And I know for our regular listeners that you probably are sitting there like, these guys should have fucking blah, blah, blah. We know. Come on, I know.
We know.
There are some points
I think we should just put it just the same thing that Sam Tripoli said when he came on, like is and it's recovery principle. You got to focus on the similarities.
Yes.
Man.
Yep.
And I think we all experienced like this is a wonderful man with a great heart, and we're going to focus on those similarities, and we learn something. And maybe that's a lesson to us all that like even if we don't agree with everybody on everything, we can all get something from each other if we can like just listen to each other, right?
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of great stuff there. Sure, we could have
challenged.
We could have directed. We could have directed.
But you know.
But really, we didn't have him on for that either. We really wanted to hear his perspective and where he's coming at. And I know. Like
I just know our hardcore fans, our hardcore listeners would be like, these motherfuckers, I'm never listening to them again.
No, they're not. They love Tommy Chong just as much as us.
Oh, dude. Tommy Chong.
Come on.
How awesome, guys.
Really an honor.
Yeah,
that was kind of intense and insane that we actually just I'm still like a little bit, I have like a flush and a little bit of a sweat. Like we were just talking to Tommy Chong. Like whenever in your life did you think that was going to happen?
Never.
Wow.
So
much positive energy.
Yeah,
totally positive energy.
That's all I felt too, was just positive energy.
He had such just happy eyes, kind eyes, a calm demeanor. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Well, he was probably stoned.
I was just about to say, I was just waiting. I was like, I kind of want to smoke a joint with Tommy Chong now. Like, he's cool in the movies, but like actually to talk to him, though, I'm like, wow, what a cool vibration.
You got to take your car to the drive-in theater.
Oh, that's it. I'm on it. I'm on it.
That's awesome.
There's a new movie with the homeless tent people.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really cool idea.
Have I said this on the air about my idea?
What was your
the homeless people? How we put them to work?
Oh yeah, you did.
Did I say it on the air?
You said it on the Mel episode last week.
Oh, okay, that's
right. About and giving them all $20 to go into Walmart with us without a mask.
I like that. I thought about that since. I don't think it's a bad. I think would you say it's crowdfunding or something? We would have to word it as something different to have some kind of a GoFundMe page set up so they don't.
Well, we just have to go get funding.
Go
get funding is the one they want.
The one that's
GoFundMe.
Okay, all right.
I want to do a quick plug here real quick, though.
I have one, too.
So I'm wearing my tinfoil, my official, this is like a real actual tinfoil hat. It keeps the radio waves from entering my brain, which is what a tinfoil hat is.
Yeah, I got to say, that looks good,
It looks
man.
pretty
It looks
sharp.
really good.
I want him to make like a cowgirl straw hat that has like the tinfoil lining for the summertime, because I can't just wear that out like, I mean, not to get too fashiony about it. That's awesome.
There's a couple different ones. There's a lighter one, and there's like another more like winter one. But this, anyway, guys, SpiroGear.com. Our friend Matt Landman, who was on a couple episodes ago, Frankenskies, and he hooked it up too. He sent me a little pouch. I didn't even order one. I ordered this, and then I didn't order the phone pouch thingy, but he sent it to me for free. So Matt, thanks. It came stuffed with all these little hander outer things.
It's incredible merchandise.
Hander outer things.
Yeah,
hander outer things.
New terminology.
Yeah, Frankenskies, dude, just a little promotional stuff. But just Matt. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
So awesome.
And then we got
it. And I want to plug. This is my buddy Austin that I work with. He made a T-shirt, and it's pretty awesome. It's the "Don't Tread on Me" shirts with the snake. Well, it's "Don't Shed on Me." So, I don't know if we'll be able to make it big on here so you guys can really see.
I can overlay
we'll
it.
kind of go like that and see if you can see it from there. But anyways, it's pretty cool. We'll put the link in the show notes, and also if you use Truthzilla as a promo code, you get a discount on it. So,
oh wow, that's kind of cool. Right on.
Really? I have to order that.
Yeah, I want to get one of those.
I'm gonna cut the neck out like I like, and then
they have different shirts too. I'll show you here.
Speaking of too, check out our t-shirt shop, truthzilla.org/shirts. We've been getting a lot of orders, so thank you all who are supporting the show with the t-shirt orders. I would say if you see something, or if you like the shirt, take a picture of it and send it to us. Like on Instagram or on our Telegram page. If you go to Telegram, it's @Truthzilla.
Wait, what's that social media thing?
Instagram. Okay, the Instagram. So
IG.
So send us pictures of you in your Truthzilla gear and let us know if it's okay, and we'll use it in like one of our little promotional little memes or whatever that we do with it. So, but thank you guys have been like really supporting us through the show. Also we're on Patreon and Rockfin. If you guys are watching us anywhere else but Rockfin, I don't know what you're doing. So. Anyway, so So you guys, thank you so much. What an honor. I'm so glad you guys are on this ride with us.
Yes.
We literally couldn't do it without all the love and support from all of you. Just in every way possible. I got a message today about somebody who lives here in Oregon too, says they love the show and they're sharing it with their friends, and it's just like that right there. If nothing else, just talk about it with your friends, because like Charlie Robinson says, like the algorithms do not love us. That's the only way that this show will ever get out to anybody is by your word of mouth.
True.
So, and it's
It's
just like,
I think pretty much every social media has already told us at this point that they're either like they've given us strikes, or they're restricting our reach. Like they've told us up front on top of like the shadow banning that's happening.
And it's so funny, like our Facebook page, we've had like 900 and something followers, like 960 followers for like 6 months now. Like you're telling me we haven't gotten 40 new Facebook likes in the last 6 months, like at all?
Totally.
No. So, and then same thing with Twitter. Like we've been right at like 790 followers for like 6 months. 795. Like literally between like 770 and 790 for like 6 months. It's just like, you guys.
Well, both those platforms have specifically. Those are the platforms that have really come after us so far. I mean, I don't believe any of those things.
It's funny. It's funny, and I don't care. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. That means we're doing the work. We're doing the right job. We're on the right track. We're over the target. We're saying what needs to be said, and that's that.
That is that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, everybody, I don't know what else I could possibly say. That was the amazing and really, really talented Tommy Chong. We were so grateful that he sat with us today. Super, super cool conversation. And thank you for your support. Until next time, I'm Megan, sitting here with Scott and Ed. We wish all of you intellectual prosperity. Good night.